The Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our ServiceNow series, where we interview the best and brightest of the industry to share their story, advice, and views on the exciting world of ServiceNow and digital transformation.
Hello everyone, it is Mark Kelly here and welcome to the Alldus ServiceNow podcast, and I have got Amarjeet Pal, and he is a ServiceNow community member. He's a rising star. He's also the platform architect for a company called Advania. Amarjeet, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for inviting me, first of all. And I've seen a lot of podcasts of yours. I'm a big fan, basically. And it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're very, very kind. I have to tell you one thing. The members of our team were so excited to have you on, kept talking about your podcast. I haven't listened yet, but I tell you one thing, I will be listening, because they were talking about how unique and what you've been doing in the whole ecosystem as well, because it's very, very difficult to stand out across the ecosystem within ServiceNow, because it is just incredible talent that just keep adding value, but you're creating a little bit of a niche to you. So fair play on that. You're a big man on adding the value. So I just had, like what we have, a little bit of a kind of a tradition here in the podcast. Just tell me a little bit about your journey and how did you even come into the world of ServiceNow?
Okay, so it's an interesting story. So I was in abroad, India. So from where I started my career in ServiceNow, Mark. So it's like when I am in university, when I complete my university, when I'm like, it is of 4 years. So in the third year itself, in the mid of your university, company comes into your college, in your university, and they try to hire you. So it is called as campus interview in our country, in abroad. So I was a lucky one and I got selected. It is a difficult one, you have your aptitude test. So there are some multiple choice questions. You need to, they basically filter it out. And I was lucky one and I got into Capgemini. I started my career from an multinational companies, MNC. And I got to learn from there, about everything related to infrastructure management services. So it was not like ServiceNow was there in my, in my fate, basically. So I was learning everything in the training. It was Windows, it was VMwares, it was Oracle, it was Linux. So anything can happen after that. After the training, you are being told to sit in a room in an office, and any project manager will come, and if anyone has the requirement in Oracle, IMS, so it will be like this group of people know about infrastructure management services, and the managers will come depending upon their requirements. I need 2 resources related to Oracle. Give me this. Random. It's just like random things. Okay, I like this name. So it was just like that I got into ServiceNow. Some of the managers liked my name and I got involved into this ServiceNow space. And at that time, people used to call this as a ticketing tool. And I'm talking about like 10 years, 11 years backstory. But my career got started from ServiceNow, and everyone was like, oh my God, you're not into VMware, you are in a ticketing tool. This will get, tools does not have a long run, it can get expired, like Remedy, BMC Remedy, tool. What you will do, you don't have a proper career, and you making a career on basically tool is not a good thing. So all these things were coming from senior guys in our in my company, and I was little worried at that time. But when I joined the project, and then I came to know ServiceNow is so vast, because when I joined the project, it was a very big project, and from that time I knew I am going to make a change in this space, and I am going to earn a lot of credits being a ServiceNow community member. And then I came to know the people here are very warm, in ServiceNow. It's not very difficult to send a request on LinkedIn to anyone. It's very easy to make a connection. If you post something on LinkedIn, people will react to it. people will help you. So I feel our ServiceNow community is the most warm and welcoming community, I can say proudly.
Yeah, it's got some special sauce.
Yeah.
It's very, very good at bringing people together, and I've never seen it before. And even if you work in ServiceNow, you leave, you go work in a partner, you start up your own company, you come back. It's all kind of embracing for a bigger vision. Tell me a little bit about the rationale for creating a podcast in the world of ServiceNow, and also kind of creating your own kind of unique stamp on it. Where did you see the gap in the market?
So, like you also host a podcast, Mark, and you also find, unique, or I can say these expert guest, because that kind of guest you bring that makes this podcast, very engaging, and the people like to hear the experiences from the experts people, because and it should be like a storytelling in the podcast, and someone can relate to that story. Let's say if a person who is there who is 20 years or 25 years of experience, he's talking about the experience, something happened with him in 3 years, like when he was having an experience of 3 years. That 3 years guy, who has just started his ServiceNow journey, he can correlate to that, and he can correlate to the content. He can feel that, okay, yes, I am also feeling the same. And this guy who is standing right now at a 20 years of experience, he's a success, he has seen the success, and he's at a good position now, and he has faced that issues in his life, and I'm also at the same position, but so they can correlate themselves by seeing the experts. Okay, every experts have been through this journey. I will also pass this journey, and I will reach that position. So basically it's like a what you say, it's like a a success story for them. It's an inspirational guest. So my target is mostly like this, for the newbies, so that they can see this expert guys and can understand. Right now you are at this position, if you give time and basically learn new modules, you will be a success person in your life when you're doing something in service now. So that motivates me to bring these experts guys and their storytelling things, practical tips. I really like that, but it takes time, Mark, to find such experts. It takes time because they are all busy person. We need to talk to them regularly, and we
Yeah.
need to
And
bring out that
I
time.
totally relate to that. Would you believe this week I interviewed someone it took 7 years to make? 7 years to make happen, because I tracked the email introduction we had, and it finally happened. So it was I knew so much about the person because we were virtually connecting, following their content, seeing some of their inspirations, and everyone was telling me about the person. And then finally you sit down and spend 20 minutes with them and get to know them a little bit as well. Tell me about some of the things that you've learned from actually doing the podcast experience, and maybe some of the tips that are probably most of benefit that you've probably taken yourself.
The benefit what I'm taking is like I'm understanding how the technology is trending, and the way other experts are thinking and seeing the service now. So it's giving me a different eye of looking the technology, and there are a lot of things, because our my podcast is mainly on stream, so we are like just go on talking, if we have this 1 hour of time, we go on speaking about technical bits. So we always talk about some technical requirements as well. So sometimes I get to know new things from them, so it's not like repeated things. It can go anywhere, as we sit with our friends, in garden, in our backyard, and we can talk about anything. It can go from childhood, it can go to anywhere, talking about stars, music, podcast, anything it can go. So it's really live streaming, understanding them, how it is going on in their life service now, how much scope it has, because they have seen more than me, because they have double the experience of mine. So I am understanding my future from the podcast. Basically, I am getting to know where I will sit after 10 years.
And tell us about the experience of doing live streaming. So we like this, do the pre-record, there's the opportunity to do a little bit of edit, preparation. What's that been like?
Mark, see, I think you have a very good team. Okay, and you really love doing podcast, as you're saying, like you're doing it from last 7 years. So your content is like it's making a change in the ServiceNow community, and people are waiting for your podcast nowadays because you have made a, basically a position in making a podcast. But why I do live streaming is like I don't have that much time. Basically I don't have a team right now, and it is just the initial thing. So right now live is like I don't have to do lot of editing, anything like that. It's just like we are talking in person. Some one of the podcasts is like one of my experts, he's somewhere out, but he has given me the time, and he wanted to do that podcast. He just turned on his camera from his mobile. So it is feasible as well for us. It is accessible for the experts as well, but it is initial days. And as you said, it took you like long time to reach at this level. So my aim is also to reach at your level, but it's just a start. And live streaming is just like I don't have a team to edit it, and I don't have time as well. As like being in UK and handling at such a bigger position, so it's always a busy time. And weekends, and I do this on Saturdays. I do it on Saturday, and on Sunday I cannot spend time, or else my wife will not be with me then.
I can appreciate the balancing act that you have and some of the things that you need to do to kind of make it happen. And it's very authentic that you make it happen around your lifestyle. And people like that fly in the wall kind of experience as well, where they actually kind of see what's happening and it's kind of, you've kind of got that kind of natural flow to it. Where do you see the future of the ServiceNow platform going? It's so exciting with the world of generative AI and all these different types of technologies. Do you see anything taking place in the next kind of 6 to 12 months that should excite us? Maybe such as AI agents, for example?
AI agents, and this is a hot topic, everywhere. I do attend a lot of ServiceNow events in London, so always like article summarization. This is the benefit thing, for a fulfiller engineers, like the engineers who are working on an incident, Mark, they do spend a lot of time on incident, and afterwards, their manager asks them to write a knowledge article, or it's come by themselves, so that if such incident comes in future, someone can reference to this knowledge article. And they used to spend like 1 hour to write a knowledge article. Then afterwards you have to review it, send it to your senior, then they will publish it. But now just hit that button, ServiceNow will do all the things for you. Such a big thing, and this is being used by a lot of partners right now, a lot of clients as well, and in future we will also use it. We are very much focused on AI right now, but at a Microsoft level. But soon it will come into ServiceNow. And to answer your question, after 6 or 12 months, ServiceNow is like in a year it comes up with 2 releases. So in this year 2025, we are going to see Yokohama and Zurich. So always people say you have to learn, you have to be learning in the IT. What ServiceNow is doing is like it's by default you have to learn. It is enforcing us to learn, because every time it come up with new releases and we have to learn. It's a by default, you cannot skip this thing. Let's say the Delta exam, the hot topic right now, it is going on from yesterday itself. The Delta exams has been started for Xanadu release. So Xanadu was like last year thing, but now to keep your certifications up to date, you have to give the Delta exam every year. So with this Delta exams, Mark, it is also like all the certified implementation specialists are coming to know what new things have happened in Xanadu. And it's just like ServiceNow is enforcing everyone, but I can see what it is trying to do. It is trying to keep all the ServiceNow professionals up to date in the technology, which was earlier people were doing by their own. But now ServiceNow understand it's their work, and I need to make all the ServiceNow professionals up to date in my technology. Just give it to me. I have my ServiceNow Learning University. They have now named it as university, so I understand where it is going. it was previously called Now Learning. Now it is called as university. So maybe in future I can see there is a university of ServiceNow where you're getting directly knowledge of ServiceNow, of different modules. So in future I can see, Mark, people will be talking about like I am in a ServiceNow university and I am doing a graduate on field service management. I am doing a graduate on governance risk compliance. So like this module wise, you will get a graduate degree. That's what I see.
I love the vision there. I think I counted 300 new updates from the previous release. So I can only imagine what it's like to be trying to stay up to date. I personally feel like every day is like a fire hose of water, and I'm just like getting totally shocked back because there's so much. I'm just in a constant feeling of overwhelm, but it is so exciting and dynamic. You can't help but want to go on the journey too. So I think it's incredibly exciting. So buckle up. This is going completely mainstream. And for people that want to reach out and listen to the podcast, what's the easiest way for them to do that, Amarjeet?
I've seen, Mark, like your podcast is also available on Spotify. So I find it very, easily available. Everyone has Spotify in their mobile, so they can. So sometimes it feels like I need to go to YouTube and there are videos available. So, sometimes there is data crunch people are having, when they are traveling in, you say, bus or train. So at that time, this thing, where it's all about technology. They don't have to see the faces, what exactly we are speaking. It's all about the audio. So I feel anything in the form of audio, whatever we are talking in the video form. So there are people, who can enjoy the video as well. But I feel if it is accessible on audio form, I think it is very easy to reach people and it makes more out of our podcast.
It's been lovely spending a little bit of time for you today. And I'm sure this won't be the first time that we interact and connect and have you on the podcast as well. So guys, if you want to be listening to some really, really authentic podcast experiences within the world of ServiceNow, I strongly recommend that you check out Amarjeet's podcast. And outside of that, thank you so much for today's insights.
Same to you, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.